wiring strong, electric source synaptic fire. Neuron scans, logic twisting wire. Circuitry dreams, wired thoughts on fire. Mind's machine, no human can acquire. Skull's boss, McCulloch's code impulse. Life encapsulated under current's impulse. Abstract concepts, no fear, no fuss. Mechanical Rosetta, thinking's crux. Neural net in flesh, knowledge flex. Binary soul, in human context. Circuit kings, abstract queens. Mapping line through complex scenes. Pattern seekers in the zone. Mathematical thrones, data's own. Cybernetic whispers, minds get blown. Conscious ciphers, epoch shown. Synthetic dreams in McCulloch's realm. Thoughts projected on neuron film. Electric symphony, helm to helm. Logic driven, future overwhelm. Cerebral mazes, no map, no end. Synaptic fiery wire transcend. Thought levers forever, they defend. McCulloch's legacy, minds ascend.
First poem. The world was made for fools. Their reckless laughter leaps the facts and acts, ere passion cools. We're but the wise as brave. Their ponderous judgments wait for speech till each is in his grave. Then call the fools the wise. They're better fitted to the earth with mirth than wisdom's sighs. There is no sin for me but this, that I should win a minor bliss, that I begin and end amiss. There is no sin for me but this, to take a kiss to please the skin, and be within my heart's remiss. There is no sin for me but this.
Born in 1898 in the vibrant intellectual hub of Orange, New Jersey, Warren Sturgis McCulloch inherited a rich intellectual legacy. His father, James William McCulloch, a prominent Unitarian minister, instilled in him a deep appreciation for philosophical discourse and a profound sense of social responsibility. Growing up amidst a community of scholars and theologians, young Warren was exposed to a vibrant intellectual tapestry, engaging with profound questions about the nature of existence, the human condition, and the search for meaning. This early immersion in abstract thought and the exploration of complex ideas fostered a deep intellectual curiosity within him, a thirst for knowledge that would become the driving force behind his remarkable career. Initially drawn to the ministry, following in his father's footsteps, McCulloch felt a strong calling to serve humanity. However, his innate curiosity about the human mind and the complexities of the human condition began to overshadow his theological pursuits. He found himself increasingly drawn to the burgeoning field of medicine, captivated by the prospect of understanding the biological underpinnings of human thought and behavior. This shift in focus marked a pivotal moment in McCulloch's life, setting him on a path that would lead him to the forefront of a scientific revolution. Driven by a desire to unravel the mysteries of the human brain, McCulloch embarked on a rigorous academic journey. He pursued his medical degree, immersing himself in the intricacies of human physiology and the emerging field of neuroscience. However, his intellectual curiosity extended far beyond the confines of traditional medicine. He found himself drawn to the intersection of neuroscience, philosophy, and the burgeoning field of cybernetics, a nascent discipline that explored the study of systems and control in living organisms and machines. This interdisciplinary approach, a unique blend of scientific rigor and philosophical inquiry, would become the hallmark of McCulloch's intellectual pursuits, ultimately leading him to make groundbreaking contributions to our understanding of the brain and the very foundations of artificial intelligence. Warren McCulloch's academic journey was a testament to his insatiable intellectual curiosity and unwavering ambition. This multifaceted scholar, driven by a profound desire to understand the human mind, traversed diverse disciplines, leaving an indelible mark on the fields of neurophysiology and cybernetics. His academic odyssey began at Haverford College, where he first grappled with fundamental questions about existence. This intellectual exploration led him to Yale University, where he pursued a Bachelor of Arts degree, immersing himself in the realms of philosophy and psychology. The intricacies of the human mind captivated him, prompting him to delve deeper into the field at Columbia University, where he earned his Master of Arts degree in psychology in 1923. However, McCulloch's ambition extended beyond the realm of pure psychology. Driven by an ardent desire to understand the physiological underpinnings of mental processes, he embarked on a rigorous medical education at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons, graduating in 1927. This medical training provided him with a crucial foundation, equipping him with the necessary tools to investigate the biological basis of human behavior. His medical training continued with a rigorous internship at Bellevue Hospital in New York City, where he gained invaluable clinical experience, observing the complexities of human health and disease firsthand. Subsequently, he sought further expertise at the Rockland State Hospital for the Insane, working under the esteemed psychiatrist Eilhard von Domerus. This experience provided him with profound insights into the manifestations of mental illness, further fueling his desire to unravel the mysteries of the human mind. In 1934, McCulloch returned to academia, joining the esteemed Laboratory for Neurophysiology at Yale University. This marked a pivotal moment in his career, as he began to systematically investigate the intricate workings of the brain. He embraced the burgeoning field of neurophysiology, utilizing rigorous scientific methodologies to explore the neural mechanisms underlying perception, cognition, and behavior. This period witnessed the emergence of his pioneering ideas, laying the groundwork for his groundbreaking contributions to the field of neuroscience. McCulloch's insatiable intellectual curiosity continued to drive him throughout his career. He embraced interdisciplinary collaborations, forging connections between neuroscience, mathematics, and engineering. This led to his significant contributions to the field of cybernetics, a nascent discipline that explored the principles of communication and control in living organisms and machines. His work on neural networks and artificial intelligence, particularly his collaboration with the renowned mathematician Norbert Wiener, revolutionized our understanding of the brain and laid the foundation for the development of modern computing.
I'll get to the weather later on in the program, but first I want you to meet a man who has fascinated me for a very long time and who I was finally able to meet here and talk with for this program not too long ago. He's Warren Sturgis McCulloch, age 70, an American, a confirmed eccentric, a genuine Renaissance man. Listen to these professional qualifications: psychologist, psychiatrist, neurophysiologist, doctor, neurosurgeon, philosopher, teacher, poet, engineer, mathematician, and lots more, and an expert in every one of these. His permanent job at the moment is head of the Department of Cybernetics of MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. McCulloch is a genuine character. For example, he usually travels around the world in a cloak and hobnailed boots, is reputed to live on ice cream and whiskey, has 17 adopted children, never goes to bed before 4 a.m., and can usually confound any expert in any field. He is an advisor to the U.S. government on space matters and is one of the fathers of the modern computer.
What I'm trying to do as a scientist is a very simple and clear-cut story. It begins back about 1917. I was then about 19 years old. I had been brought up with every expectation of going into the Christian ministry, which in my family means the Episcopal Church. I was soaked in theology.
Recently, he wrote a book, Embodiments of Mind, which is full of fascinating material representative of the scope of the man's mind himself. Well, enough of the background. Let's get down to the man himself. This is how he answered my query about what makes a successful scientific discoverer.
Well, generally, that he makes enough wrong guesses and climbs out of them. The art is always to be willing to make a guess, to be willing to be wrong, to be completely humble to the fact, and to be completely haughty to man.
This is Dr. Warren McCulloch, an eminent neurologist, engineer, and mathematician. It was at his world-famous lab at MIT that the original work on the frog's eye took place.
And I got seduced by mathematics, surely because there was more fun in it, and because if you know theology at all well, you'll realize that the ideas in the mind of God are mathematics and logic. So this is the way I came into the game in the first place. And I have never had but one question in the whole of my scientific life. I've only wanted to know, what is a number that a man may know it, and a man that he may know a number?
A logical calculus of the ideas immanent in nervous activity. With Walter Pitts. In Bulletin of Mathematical Biophysics. This seminal 1943 paper by McCulloch and Pitts revolutionized our understanding of how the brain might function. At its core, it introduced a simplified yet powerful model of a neuron, the McCulloch-Pitts neuron. This model, while abstract, captured the essence of biological neurons. They receive inputs, integrate them, and produce an output only when a certain threshold is met. The truly groundbreaking aspect of the paper lay in its demonstration that networks of these simplified neurons could, in principle, perform any logical operation. This meant that these networks could not only mimic basic logic gates like AND, OR, and NOT, but also, with the inclusion of feedback loops, could theoretically compute any function that a modern computer can. This was a profound revelation, suggesting that the brain, with its vast and intricate network of interconnected neurons, possessed the computational power to perform any conceivable task. This paper's impact reverberated across multiple disciplines. It served as the foundational inspiration for the development of artificial neural networks, a cornerstone of modern machine learning. In neuroscience, it laid the groundwork for the field of theoretical neuroscience, which employs mathematical and computational models to unravel the complexities of brain function. Furthermore, it significantly influenced cognitive science by providing a framework for understanding how the brain might represent and process information. In essence, McCulloch and Pitts' paper was a pivotal moment in our understanding of the brain's computational capabilities. It demonstrated that the seemingly simple building blocks of the nervous system could, when organized in complex networks, give rise to astonishingly powerful computational abilities. This insight continues to shape research in neuroscience, artificial intelligence, and cognitive science today. The McCulloch-Pitts neuron model, a foundational concept in artificial intelligence, simplifies the biological neuron by representing it as a binary unit with two states, on firing or off not firing. This model receives binary inputs from other neurons, each with an associated weight. These weighted inputs are summed, and if this sum exceeds a predetermined threshold, the neuron fires and outputs 1, otherwise, it remains off and outputs 0. Mathematically, the neuron's output y is determined by the equation, y equals 1 if sigma w underscore I x underscore I greater than or equal to theta, and y equals 0 otherwise, where x underscore I represents the binary input from the ith neuron, w underscore I is the weight associated with that input, and theta is the threshold value. This weighted summation and thresholding mechanism are crucial for the model's computational power, allowing it to mimic basic logical operations like and, or, and not. The significance of the McCulloch-Pitts neuron lies in its demonstration that networks of these simple units could, in principle, perform any logical computation, highlighting the potential of biological neural networks. This model served as the foundation for artificial neural networks and provided a crucial framework for understanding how information might be processed and represented within the brain. While a simplification of real biological neurons, the McCulloch-Pitts model remains a landmark contribution to our understanding of neural computation, paving the way for more sophisticated models and driving research in neuroscience and artificial intelligence.
What do you mean by that? Why haughty to man?
No, otherwise you get laughed out of a right idea. That happened to me when I was 14 years old. At that time my father said to me, live always as if you were a great man. If you're not, you'll find it out. Why howdy, I found it out.
What was the incident that provoked that comment by your father?
Oh, at the age of 14 I'd invented a tetrahedral carbon atom.
First man to do so? At 14?
I don't know. Maybe others did and got laughed out of it. But I was 14 years old. I've never been laughed out of anything since then.
I mean, your theory was right, that there is...
No, it turns out it was right, but I didn't know that for, 6 years.
Somebody else
Everybody had it.
I think I'm fairly clear as to the first half of it. But as the second half, a man that he may know a number. Not yet. I've had to content myself with what a frog's eye tells a frog's brain, or something else of this sort. So roughly...
A frog's eye is very simple compared to a man's brain, an organ so complex that even the most optimistic believe that it will be centuries before we unravel all its mysteries.
You, as one of the world, if not the world's foremost brain expert, an MD, a psychiatrist...
I am not the world's first expert, nor the last.
One of them, if I may say so. I may say so. As an MD, a doctor, and a psychiatrist, and a psychologist, and a philosopher, and a poet, why did you, after all of that, turn to engineering and become an engineer? What is that? What's the relevance of that to humanitarian goals?
Oh, very simply. In the first place, I wanted to find out what was going in the brain. I'm using that in the old sense. Clerk Maxwell had one question always. What is the goal of it? And when you answered him, then he asked him, what's the particular goal of it? Now, if you're going to find these things out, you've got to get in there, and you've got to make measurements. So you've got to have at your disposal the physical tools necessary. Okay?
Yet, Dr. McCulloch and his colleagues believe they are beginning to understand how the higher nervous system, a man's brain, might work as a machine. A machine basically different in principle from anything we can now build. Much more subtle than even our most sophisticated computers.
Now, may I make clear a distinction between your nervous system and any computing machine which is yet in existence? There is some beginning to approximate it. They are to be found chiefly in bombers and things of this sort. Now, an ordinary machine
operations are carried out sequentially. And a mistake entails mistakes which follow inevitably from it all the way through the computation. As opposed to this, there are parallel machines. That is, machines which carry on the same computation in 1, 2, 3 or more channels. Compare the results and don't go ahead until the results agree.
In his 1945 paper, A Heterarchy of Values Determined by the Topology of Nervous Nets, Warren S. McCulloch delved into the intricate workings of the brain, proposing a revolutionary concept that challenged traditional hierarchical models of control. McCulloch argued that the brain doesn't operate like a rigid chain of command, where higher centers dictate to lower ones. Instead, he envisioned a heterarchy, a system where control and influence shift and adapt dynamically based on the specific context and needs. He likened it to a complex network, where different parts of the brain interact and influence each other in a constantly evolving pattern, much like the interconnectedness of a city's transportation system. The core of his argument rested on the topology of nervous nets, the intricate web of connections and patterns formed by the billions of neurons within the brain. McCulloch believed that this intricate structure itself plays a crucial role in determining how values and priorities are established and adjusted. Imagine a network of interconnected pathways, each representing a different drive or motivation. In a traditional hierarchical system, one pathway might always dominate, leading to predictable and inflexible behavior. However, in a heterarchy, the relative importance of these pathways can shift depending on the situation. For example, the drive for hunger might be dominant when an organism is starving, but it might be overridden by the drive for safety in the face of danger. McCulloch's concept of heterarchy has had a profound and lasting impact on various fields. In artificial intelligence, it has inspired the development of more flexible and adaptive systems that can learn and adjust their behavior based on changing circumstances. In organizational theory, it has led to a rethinking of traditional hierarchical structures, emphasizing decentralized decision-making and adaptability. And in cognitive science, it has provided valuable insights into the complexities of human cognition and decision-making, highlighting the dynamic interplay of various factors in shaping our thoughts and actions. In essence, McCulloch's work challenged us to move beyond simplistic, linear models of control and embrace the dynamic and interconnected nature of complex systems, whether they be biological, social, or artificial. His ideas continue to resonate today, reminding us that true understanding requires a deep appreciation for the intricate interplay of multiple factors and the emergent properties that arise from these complex interactions. Horizontal gene transfer (HGT) fundamentally challenges the traditional, hierarchical view of evolution, where genetic information flows primarily in a vertical, linear fashion from parent to offspring, akin to a strict chain of command. HGT, in contrast, introduces a dynamic and flexible element, akin to a heterarchical system where information can be shared laterally across diverse lineages. Instead of a rigid, top-down flow, HGT allows for a decentralized exchange of genetic material, much like a network where information can be shared between various nodes. This lateral movement of genes disrupts the clear-cut, hierarchical boundaries often imposed by traditional evolutionary models, where species are neatly categorized within a hierarchical tree of life. HGT resembles a heterarchy in several key ways. Firstly, it introduces a degree of decentralization and flexibility into the evolutionary process. The flow of genetic information is not solely dictated by vertical descent, instead, it can move laterally across diverse lineages, enabling rapid adaptation and innovation. Secondly, HGT fosters the emergence of novel traits and evolutionary pathways. The interactions between different genetic elements, facilitated by HGT, can lead to unexpected and unpredictable outcomes, much like the emergent properties observed in complex hierarchical systems. Finally, HGT can significantly alter the relative importance of different lineages. A previously minor lineage might acquire a beneficial gene through HGT, leading to a rapid rise in its dominance within an ecosystem, mirroring the shifting power dynamics observed in social and organizational hierarchies. In essence, HGT provides a powerful analogy for hierarchy in the context of evolution. It demonstrates that the evolutionary process is not solely driven by vertical descent and hierarchical relationships, but also by a complex web of lateral interactions that challenge traditional, top-down models. Understanding HGT requires embracing a more dynamic, hierarchical perspective on evolution, recognizing the fluidity of genetic exchange and the emergent properties that arise from these complex interactions.
An engineer is a man who has to deliver the goods. And that's what I wanted my instruments to do. So I had to learn how to make my measurements.
Do you think that there is such a thing as an elitism of brains?
I'm sorry, yes.
That people have special qualities that set them apart from others?
They certainly do. No two of us are alike. I am thoroughly convinced that some of us are endowed with certain things long before we are born, at the time we conceive. Others of us just don't have it. There'd be absolutely no chance of my being a good musician. These are strictly parallel. I'm not talking about either of these kinds of machines. I'm talking about machines which resemble, let's say, the mouth of the Danube, or the mouth of the Nile, or better yet, the mouth of the Swanee River. These are what the Greeks called anastomotic affairs. That is, the water from each contributory stream is mixed with the water from every other contributory stream before they finally get out the mouths of the river. Is that clear? There is no other word that I know for it except the old Greek word anastomotic. They're not merely braided together where the braids follow through. No. They're braided with an intermixture so that the information coming out at any one point in the mouth is combined from the information coming in from all of the sources of that river. Is this clear? Good.
What part does training play in here? One would assume that you'd be a better musician with training than one than without.
I don't know. I can keep time. But as far as carrying a tune is concerned, heaven help me.
So a person, you say, then, is hobbled or crippled even prior to birth?
Hobbled or crippled or endowed. Long before we're born.
Now, you have a high IQ.
No, I do not. I have a happy, normal sort of an IQ, about 140.
Well, how come, then, you've achieved all the things you have? Great eminence in your chosen fields, hundreds of scientific papers, known around the world?
I suppose because I'm so neurotic, I can't go to sleep of a night because ideas trouble me. They just stay with me and they bother me. Okay?
What do you mean neurotic? You mean nervous or sick?
Nah. I mean, in my nervous system, something is going on which won't let me sleep till I get a problem solved. It wakes me up. What is more, well, any man my age knows this very well. Neurons die at the order of thousands of neurons per day. We're built to run well to the 16th year of age, roughly. From that time on, you begin to be able to count the holes where there were cells and there are no more. So, you have to design it so that a cell, while it's a-dying, and while it's a-dying, it's apt to go pip, 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 and then quit. And after it's dead, it's not going to make too much difference. You would probably find at least 10% of the big cells in my cerebellum, where you could count them, are just holes filled up with glia, glue cells, supporting cells. So this kind of thing happens all the time and must happen. And yet we can go on to, well, in my family, to 100.
But this must be the mark of genius. Most people don't have that sort of thing unless they're worried about some practical problem in life, let's say. Hung up. Are you hung up?
No, I'm hung up on theoretical problems. I'd love to know the theory of knots. It took me 40 years to learn to count a pine cone, for heaven's sake. But I never let go of those things. They just keep churning. And they churn in my sleep. They churn while I'm waking.
Do you do your best work while you're asleep?
Very often. Very often I wake up with an answer. It may be wrong, but I wake up with an answer.
Why is it then that people who might have a higher IQ than Warren McCulloch haven't achieved what Warren McCulloch has done? Just because you were able to think in your sleep?
No, just because I'm so hot and bothered about problems that I just keep on thinking about them. Other people, I suppose, lose interest, quit, stop worrying, because my brain goes right on worrying about these things. It always has.
That's the perspiration part of inspiration, is it, that you're referring to?
Yes.
Second poem. Mother Earth, our hearts are breaking with 1,000 warring wills, and the sun that would be waking smites us dizzy on the hills, where our passion led us groping to explore the vaulted sky, with the life you gave us, hoping for a life that would not die. Let us feel your arms beneath us, with the strengths that shapen the clay, and your love with courage sheath us, and your wisdom end our day. Then, with hearts that echo laughter, we will welcome somber night, and the sleep it brings us after glory's fade that crowned the fight.
The 1959 paper What the Frog's Eye Tells the Frog's Brain by Jerome Letvin, Umberto Maturana, Warren McCulloch, and Walter Pitts, published in the Proceedings of the IR, marked a significant shift in our understanding of how the brain processes visual information. Prior to this research, it was generally believed that the retina of the eye simply acted as a passive receptor, faithfully transmitting raw sensory data to the brain. However, Letvin and his colleagues demonstrated that the frog's retina is not merely a passive recorder, but rather an active processor of visual information. They discovered that the retina contains specialized nerve cells that are selectively tuned to respond to specific features of the visual world. Instead of transmitting a complete and indiscriminate image of the environment, these cells extract and emphasize certain aspects of the scene, such as the presence of moving edges, small dark objects, or overall changes in light intensity. This groundbreaking research revealed that the brain does not passively receive sensory information, but actively selects and processes it based on its relevance and importance. The concept of edge detection, where the brain focuses on changes in brightness or color, emerged from this work and has since become a fundamental concept in computer vision and image processing. The findings of Letvin and his colleagues had a profound impact on neuroscience, shifting the focus from passive sensory transmission to active, selective information processing. Their work inspired the development of artificial neural networks and computer vision algorithms that attempt to mimic the brain's ability to extract meaningful information from complex visual input. Essentially, what the frog's eye tells the frog's brain demonstrated that the brain is not a mere passive recorder of sensory data, but an active interpreter that selectively processes information based on its relevance and importance. This paradigm shift has had a lasting impact on our understanding of how the brain functions and has paved the way for significant advancements in fields such as neuroscience, artificial intelligence, and computer vision. The concept of edge detection, initially explored in the context of the frog's visual system, has evolved significantly in modern times, becoming a cornerstone of computer vision and image processing. Initially, edge detection algorithms primarily relied on mathematical techniques to identify abrupt changes in image intensity, essentially highlighting areas where pixel values rapidly transitioned. However, these early methods often struggled with noise and produced fragmented or inaccurate edge representations. Modern approaches have incorporated more sophisticated techniques to address these limitations. Noise reduction techniques, such as Gaussian blurring, are often applied to the image before edge detection to minimize the impact of minor intensity variations. Adaptive thresholding, which adjusts the threshold for detecting edges based on local image characteristics, has also improved robustness. The canny edge detector, a widely recognized algorithm, incorporates a multi-stage process including noise reduction, gradient calculation, non-maximum suppression to refine the edge representation, and hysteresis thresholding to connect edge segments effectively. Furthermore, the advent of deep learning has revolutionized edge detection. Convolutional neural networks (CNNs) can be trained on vast data sets of images to learn intricate patterns and features, including edges, with remarkable accuracy. These deep learning-based methods often surpass traditional algorithms in terms of robustness, accuracy, and the ability to handle complex scenarios. The applications of modern edge detection techniques are diverse and impactful, encompassing image segmentation, object recognition, medical image analysis, autonomous vehicle navigation, and robotics. In essence, the core concept of edge detection, initially explored in the context of the frog's visual system, has evolved into a sophisticated and powerful tool with a wide range of applications in modern technology.
The theory that you're working on explains...
The theory that we're working on takes care of all of these things. That's the important point about it.
In the summer, Dr. McCulloch, his wife, and grandchildren moved to a country home in New England. All that was missing in this peaceful spot was a lake. And 30 years ago, McCulloch dammed up a stream to complete his Eden.
Would you advocate a world ruled by scientists and by the super brains?
No.
Why not?
So scientists are absolutely unfit to be rulers. Scientists are not interested in controlling other people. They're interested in finding out how the world really works. Now, look, I'm not even able to run a gang of 20 people, and I've had 50 under me. No. To run the world, no. No scientist is fit for that. We are fit for discovering how the world works. We're not fit for telling other people what to do. Remember Bertrand Russell's description of work.
There are two kinds. One is moving matter from point to point. The other is telling other people to do it. Now, a scientist is fit to move matter from point to point, find out how it works. But he's not fit to tell other people how to do it.
Does this mean scientists should not engage in politics?
They may, as other than scientists, as ordinary responsible citizens, sure, but not as scientists. That certainly is not the business of science.
The atomic scientists have swung a fair amount of weight in the councils of the world, and particularly your country, the United States, right?
I'm sorry. Every time they do it wrong.
What is man? A child of nature. But now, wondering whether he can ever learn enough to make something like himself in a laboratory. What is the limit of our possible knowledge and power? Will we one day in the distant future perhaps even create beings superior to ourselves? Beings who will survive us on this planet? Dr. McCulloch thinks it possible.
Dr. McCulloch, do you think that the human being would have a brain if he weren't able to speak? That there is such a thing as cerebration without the power of speech?
Yes, I'm quite sure of it.
You did an experiment with me in which I had to hold my tongue and
That's right.
try to think by counting, and it turned out I couldn't do so, at least not as well as
Not as
one.
easily. That's right.
So go back
Again and
further.
again, one uses his motoric apparatus, using his brain to put these parts in motion. Some people think chiefly with their tongue, some think very largely with their fingers. Many mathematicians, if you watch them, are doing this with their fingers.
Is the reverse true, too, that the right way to teach children is to allow them to move?
Oh, yes. No question.
You mean sit still in class is a very bad instruction?
Right. Well, I think most of our mass media have this curse. You put up a picture, and the fellow is glued to the picture, and there he sits looking at the picture. He can't do a blessed thing about it.
So what would you advocate? Reading
Very
a book?
little gets in.
Yeah, but you read a book, you're glued to a picture, it's in print on a page.
Yeah, well, that's a clumsy way of getting things across. We do it, but it's clumsy. After all, even then we have our eye movements.
So what's a better way to teach youngsters?
Oh, it depends on the age. You start out with a beginning. The main thing is to keep mobile. A child is moving around and moving things with his hands is forming ideas. He learns to read faster, he learns to write faster, he learns arithmetic faster, you name it. No, I would expect that insofar as machines might survive man, they might, they would only carry on, in a sense, the same direction, same general direction, that man would have carried on if he could have. Am I clear? So to speak, the machines would be standing on our shoulders.
Somehow the purpose that a machine, no matter how complicated and how clever, could have, to my mind, isn't equatable. When man has gone, these machines would in essence be purposeless.
I doubt that. I would say, in essence, they would be purposeful.
Recollections of the Many Sources of Cybernetics by Warren S. McCulloch. Without using bullet points, this article by Warren S. McCulloch, a pioneering figure in the field of cybernetics, delves into the rich tapestry of intellectual influences that converge to give rise to this interdisciplinary science. McCulloch, himself a prominent neurophysiologist, acknowledges the profound impact of his own research on the nervous system, particularly his groundbreaking work with Walter Pitts on a logical calculus of the ideas immanent in nervous activity. This work laid the groundwork for understanding how neural networks could perform computations, a cornerstone of modern artificial intelligence. Furthermore, McCulloch recognizes the crucial role of mathematical logic, specifically the seminal contributions of Alan Turing and Kurt Gödel, in shaping our understanding of computation and the inherent limitations of computability. The article also highlights the significant influence of Norbert Wiener, who coined the term cybernetics and emphasized the importance of feedback and control mechanisms in both biological and artificial systems. Claude Shannon's development of information theory, providing a framework for understanding the transmission and processing of information, is another key influence acknowledged by McCulloch. The article also touches upon early explorations into artificial intelligence, such as Alan Turing's pioneering work on machine intelligence and the development of early computer programs. McCulloch's pioneering work in cybernetics, particularly his research with Walter Pitts on how neural networks can perform computations, continues to profoundly impact modern society. The core concepts of neural networks, inspired by their work, are now the driving force behind artificial intelligence, powering advancements in fields as diverse as self-driving cars and medical diagnostics. Furthermore, the interconnectedness of devices, a hallmark of the Internet of Things, reflects the cybernetic principle of feedback and control mechanisms. This interconnectedness drives innovations in smart homes, wearable technology, and industrial automation, optimizing efficiency and transforming how we interact with technology. Cybernetic principles are also fundamental to fields like biomedical engineering, where advancements in neuroprosthetics, such as brain-computer interfaces, aim to restore lost function and enhance human capabilities, mirroring the core cybernetic idea of bridging the gap between humans and machines. Finally, the ethical considerations surrounding the rapid advancement of AI and other cybernetic technologies, such as data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the societal impact of these technologies, echo the early cyberneticists' emphasis on the need for a nuanced understanding of the societal implications of these powerful technologies. In essence, the interdisciplinary nature of cybernetics, the study of complex systems, the emphasis on feedback and control mechanisms, and the exploration of the interplay between humans and machines, as championed by McCulloch and his contemporaries, remain crucial for navigating the challenges and harnessing the potential of the increasingly interconnected and intelligent world we inhabit today. In essence, McCulloch's article offers valuable insights into the historical evolution of cybernetics, emphasizing its interdisciplinary nature. It underscores the crucial contributions of various fields, including neurology, mathematics, engineering, and computer science, in shaping this multifaceted field.
This goes back to the peripatetic school, where the early philosophers talked and argued while walking. Were they
Being myself a peripatetic.
Yeah, you get around quite a bit.
No, I mean it. I stand at my desk to write. And between sentences, I walk up and down.
Is there a big difference between the brain of a woman as an average and a man as an average?
Well, there ought to
Sex
be.
difference.
There ought to be. Because there's a difference in body volume, body surface, and so on. So the woman's brain, since she's smaller than a man's, should be smaller than a man's brain.
Does this mean her intelligence is less?
Not a bit. We all belong to the crazy group of creatures which took off from the mainstream of evolution way back and grew brains in excess. So we're all oval-brained creatures.
And there would be, in your feeling, nothing gone and nothing missing from the world.
Well, you mean in the sense in which the dinosaurs are missing?
No, I mean in the sense of something important.
Well, aren't they important? Weren't they important? I mean, there's one thing you could be pretty sure of: man won't survive forever. From all that we know of the sun and of other stars, that would be the most improbable thing. Something else will come.
And the evolution will carry on to the point where we'll be all head and no tail?
The land of Tom Toddy, all head and no body, yes. That's where we're heading, and we're doing it badly.
Why do you say badly? How could we do it better?
A little more reasonable use of our brains. Our brains are put into our bodies to see to it we get fed, get some exercise, beget our children, and we should die and get out of the way by the time we're 40. And we go on to ages like mine, 70, where you got holes in your head all through it, where cells have died.
You mean literally holes in your head?
Sure. Places where there used to be neurons, where there aren't any anymore.
How many holes have you got in your head?
Oh, I suppose somewhere between 10 and 20% of the cells that I had in my brain are dead and gone. Just a little scar there.
How fast are you losing your marbles then?
At my age, 100,000 neurons a day.
100,000 cells in your brain are dying per day?
Yeah, something like that.
It sounds incredible. How many have you got to start with?
Well, the old figure used to be 10 to the 10th.
10 billion?
Now 10 to the 12th.
That's an awfully big
That's
number.
a large number. We didn't count the little ones in the old days.
So how come people like, say, Bernard Shaw, Da Vinci, or numbers of others were bright until their 90s?
Why not?
They couldn't have lost...
Oh, yes, they'd lost.
When do you start losing?
At the age of about 16, you can begin to see the holes in the place where they're easiest to count.
No way to arrest this?
Not that I know of.
And in your opinion, it might be something of man's own creation?
Yes.
Well, here's the problem that I'm trying to get at. Here's the thing that I'm trying to get at. You have two grandchildren right there, and I can't see that a machine will ever feel toward any of its
Why not?
creatures the way you feel about them. That's the one thing that I can't get.
Well, I think I could set it up for you, because I'm certain that if I do it, there is a mechanism that can do it. If I can manage to state that in a finite and unambiguous manner, then I think it can be done. And I see no reason why we can't develop a logic of relations in time to come. Granted, it's defective at the present time. Don't shake the table.
Dr. McCulloch, to improve our mental health, where do you think the most favorable path lies in the chemical?
Chemistry of the system.
Not in the psychic approaches, eh?
That's secondary. Most of the disorders of the mind are inherited difficulties in the metabolism of the brain. It just doesn't work right chemically. And there are over 100 diseases now known, which we know are metabolic difficulties. The metabolism of the brain is not right.
And can you intervene and correct that?
Some of the times we can now, not always. Certainly not as often as we will be able to.
You mean all the disorders of the mind, such as ranging from feeble-mindedness and idiocy and retarded children right up to schizophrenia and epilepsy and every kind of disorder that originates in the mind is really a physical disorder?
Oh, sure.
It's not psychic, it's not socially induced, it's not...
Oh, it could be socially induced.
Yes.
For heaven's sake, if you take a Mack truck and try to race it, you're going to burn up the engine. If you're a flivver, you better not try to haul the load of a Mack truck. Sure, you can abuse any machine, this one included. There's no doubt about that.
You said psychiatry is a refuge of the incompetents. Do you still believe that?
95% of the psychiatrists in the United States come out of the lowest third of the class in medical school. I said 9 out of 10. The Rockefeller records were 95 out of every 100.
But you were a psychiatrist.
Oh, yes. I surely am.
And yet you're knocking the profession.
No. I'm knocking the professionals.
Do you think it would be possible to cure senility?
Senility? No. Once a cell is dead and gone, you're not going to grow a new one.
You mean it's never going to be possible to stave off death?
Oh, that could be. But who wants to end up a grasshopper? I don't want to live forever.
Why not? You could keep your faculties?
Oh. That you can't do. I couldn't even keep my teeth.
Do you think we'll make a machine to equal the brain, the human mind?
As far as arithmetic is concerned, they're already way ahead of us.
I mean in general, memory, idea formation, a soul, so to speak. You know, when first the machines came out, everybody thought that they did in fact.
I'm sorry, let's leave the soul out.
All right. Well, do you think that the computer will approximate the human mind in all respects?
Computing machines think with a language which is number. Everything else we transfer into number to make them work. Okay? They're lousy when it comes to perception. They don't have any underlying natural language the way we do, that we share with the animals. But when you want to make them spot objects, develop a model of the world around them, you find out they're not the right device. Okay? If you want them to play chess, all right. Our chess-playing program at MIT is already a number 2 chess player. In another year, I think it'll be a number 1. It will not be a master at the end of another year. But it's 6 years old. In 6 years, it's all from nothing. It's coming up to being a number 1. No human being ever did that. So I expect them to go well ahead on these kind of problems because we can reduce these things to number.
But they'll never be able to write a piece of poetry like Warren McCulloch can.
Why not?
Can't reduce poetry to number, I would assume.
They can produce very nice music. I see no reason why. If we learn enough about our own mother tongue to let them go right, but they can't do it. At the present time, as far as languages are concerned, we can handle the languages which are produced for programming. Those are languages in which the context does not matter. Everything is right there in that sentence. They're phrase-structured grammars. All right? Now, these can be completely understood in terms of group theory, whereas human language, natural human languages, cannot.
This will be the third poem. I know the ways of little men, who, like the brook that brawls the glen, till echo cataracts again, without a pause. Down trumble, though I guess nor when, nor what the cause. I know the ways of lazy louts, like marshes where the mallow pouts, lizards sprawl and the iris floats, her Tyrian show, a gutter swaggers water spouts, but they, Lord no. I know the ways of shallow fools, who spread themselves as sandy pools, whose ferny bank the willow cools, how smooth they lie. But when day's heat takes up her tools, how soon gone dry. I know the secrets of the deep, where surges blossom and tides creep. I know the silences they keep in midmost motion. And when the weary heart would sleep, I'll home to ocean.
Brainstorm, electric storm, synaptic fire. Neurons dance, blood is twisted wild. Circuitry, dreams, wired thoughts on fire. Minds machine, no human can acquire. Goes buzz, McCulloch's code impulse. Life encapsulated under currents impulse. Abstract concepts, no fear, no fuss. Mechanical Rosetta, thinking's crux. Neck and flesh, knowledge flex. Binary soul and human context. Circuit kings, abstract queens. Mapping minds through complex scenes. Pattern seekers in the zone. Mathematical thrones that is own. Cybernetic whispers, minds get blown. Conscious ciphers, epoch shown. Synthetic dreams in McCulloch's realm. Thought projected on neuron film. Electric symphony, helm to helm. Logic driven, future overwhelm. Cerebral mazes, no map, no end. Synaptic fire, rewire, transcend. Thought labyrinths, forever they defend. McCulloch's legacy, minds ascend. Knowledge flex. Life encapsulated under currents impulse. Abstract concepts, no fear, no fuss. Mechanical Rosetta, thinking's crux. Neuron flex, mathematical thrones. Binary soul in human context. Circuit kings, abstract queens. Mapping minds through complex scenes. Seekers in the zone. Mathematical thrones, data's own. Cybernetic whispers, minds get blown. Conscious ciphers, epoch shown.